between the two checks that your
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to jump up on stage and say hello. I heard your audio loud and clear, but I always like to meet our icons when I get a minute and say thank you for hosting, Trent, and good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's always fun. I see Jen up here as well. Want to say good morning, Jen, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for your contribution. We've got your audio loud and clear. Richard, Kim, and Marty, I imagine you're making your way up here or just getting into the auditorium. Trent, any questions about hosting or moderating up here live in eXp World, or are you good?
No, I think we're good. We should have a good conversation today.
Have fun. Again, thank you for leading and enjoy, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a great weekend.
Thank you, Curtis.
All right, so we'll wait for Richard, waiting for Kim and Marty. Jen, are you okay starting the conversation until everyone else shows up?
Yeah, I'm good to start.
Okay, cool. So welcome everyone to ICONversations. Again, this is a forum where the icons can come and kind of share information about how we've reached a certain level of production and success, and also giving back to the community as far as sharing the knowledge with any upcoming agents and just other agents. I always get good knowledge and information from other agents that just have different models, business models. And it's always interesting to see how people reach certain levels of success in this industry. So thanks again for joining. So we could start off with just a general introduction, who we are, when you got started in real estate and when you joined EXP. For myself, hey Kim. All right.
Hi, I'm sorry.
No problem. I got started in real estate in 2003. I started off just investing and doing flips and some wholesale stuff, and I started doing some of my own rental properties. I got licensed in 2017 just because I felt getting licensed. Can you hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I got licensed in 2017 just so I could have more access to properties and information. And then I joined a team in 2018 and then joined EXP as well. So, and I've been here since, and just been growing. And I hit Icon for the 2019-2020 my Icon Icon period for my annual period. So, and I'm hoping to hit Icon again this year. So that's my story. I guess we can go to Jen.
Hey guys, my name is Jen Carr. I am a realtor here in Northern Virginia. My husband's active duty military, and we just PCS'd here about 6 months ago. So my Icon period, I was actually a realtor in Eastern North Carolina. So I am just now getting my business up and going here in the Northern Virginia area. I've been a realtor now for going on 4 years. 3 of those years have been with EXP. I just capped last week, so now I'm on my way to Icon this year. I have until July 1st. With the move and transition, I'm not sure if I'm going to meet it this year, but gosh dang it, I'm going to try. Sorry, I turned my mic off. I love what I do. I love being able to help my other military community, veterans, and just anybody really in general. So I look forward to our conversation today.
Awesome. And Kimberly, how long have you been in the industry? When did you get with EXP?
Sure. Hi. So I'm Kim Lally. I am based out of Baltimore, Maryland, licensed in Maryland and Pennsylvania. I've been licensed since 2012, just came to EXP a little over a year ago. We came at the start of 2020. So, yeah, Iconed last year and just aiming to do so as fast as possible this time around.
Awesome. Cool. So before we go into the details about you all individually, let's talk about your business models. Like, what do you have a niche? Is there something special you're doing? Are you just working like a warm market mostly to build your business? Can you touch a little bit on your general business model and your approach? Start with Jen.
Yeah, of course. So I kind of got into real estate because, again, when my husband, we move every 3 to 4 years typically, and we were in Japan before we got stationed in North Carolina. So I had a really great job while we were in Japan, and then I get to North Carolina, and the job market there was not very good. I interviewed, I put in applications everywhere, put my resume wherever I could, and the highest paying job I could get was like $31,000. So I was like, you know what? We had bought our first house, and I'm like, you know what? I really think I want to get into real estate. My husband kind of pushed me to go that way. And so I kind of jumped into that aspect because I love helping people. Again, I was giving back to my military community before in my previous positions. So it just kind of seemed right, like, hey, you know what? I can help other military members become homeowners. And so really that's kind of my niche. I don't really try to go anywhere else. A lot of people are like, they want to do everything. And I think that if you try to do everything, you're not going to be as successful unless you pick what you're good at and kind of stick with it. A lot of people do you help investors? Personally, for me, no, I would refer them to somebody else because I don't know very much about investing. And if I'm not the subject matter expert in something, I don't want to not be able to give my clients and and the investors the best customer service that there is. So I really stick to the military community, whether they're veterans, whether they're active duty, whether they're National Guard, things like that. My son is also active duty Marine. He's stationed in California. So even just answering questions on rentals and, things like that for young service members, I would say that's probably that's my main focus, is helping them becoming homeowners and really kind of investing as well. I wish somebody would have told my husband and I 17 years ago when he first joined the Marine Corps, hey, you should buy a house in Yuma, Arizona. They were $125,000. You look in Yuma, Arizona now in the neighborhood that we lived in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have just bought a house 17 years ago. So again, I'm hoping that I'm able to help educate other service members and their families on home ownership. So hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like how you said focusing on a niche, that knowing what you want to do and what you want to focus on. I think that's the most important thing for new agents that I speak with, that they understand is there's so much to do when you talk to other agents and hear all these different approaches. you can get lost in it and it can get confusing and frustrating. Versus, exploring is always good, but then you gotta focus on one thing. And then once you focus on that niche, and it could just be friends and family, it could be like military connections. For me, it was investors. So I'm kind of the opposite. So I saw more, I had more traction working with investors. And then when I tried to work with retail people, it was a little harder for me. So I felt like my lane is investors, even though I do want to kind of venture off into working with retail buyers and sellers. So Kim, tell us about your business model.
Sure. Yeah. So our business model is very much just based on serving repeat referral and people in our sphere of interest. So just to like illustrate that, I guess a little bit, last year we had 64 buyer and seller clients closed, and all but 2 of them were repeat referral or sphere. So a couple other, there were 2 exceptions to that. But for the most part, that's very much our focus. So, super relationship heavy. Our business model is really built around, client nurtures and touches and events, which of course was very problematic last year. And we pivoted on a few things on that. But really just focusing on our people, so to speak. And then, repeat business from them, referral business from them, that kind of thing.
Kim, when did you first hit Icon?
Well, so I just came to EXP last year in 2020.
Okay. And what would you say was that? What was that thing, or what could attribute you hitting that status? Like, was it something you did differently? Was it something that you just did more consistently?
Yeah, so I guess our situation's a little interesting in that my business partner and I actually came together to form our new team. We simultaneously moved to EXP. So we were elsewhere. We were both on other teams and then came together to form something together here at EXP last year. So, lots of change, to say the least, kind of all at one time, but certainly the way that both of us had built our businesses personally before joining forces was very similar and like-minded, thankfully, or this wouldn't be working in that like repeat referral sphere-based business model space. So I think for us last year, truthfully, a lot of that was keeping things as simple and streamlined as we could initially. There's so much noise, so many shiny objects, so many different things that we can do. And, we knew what had worked for us in the past. So it was just really keeping it as simple and straightforward as we could, and not trying to pile too much onto our plates, right out of the gate. And then again, like I said, of course, like we built this whole business model for last year around client events and, even more than we typically would. Like we had this one event a month plan, which was like really, really ambitious. And we knew that, but we were also launching this new team and this new company and felt like we really needed to do that, which then of course got derailed in March. So we basically had one event and then everything changed. But it was really for us, again, like a matter of keeping it simple and not like, oh, we should go try this other, lead gen source or paid leads or something that we've never done before. Like it was just staying true to what we had done and what we knew worked and building from there.
Okay. Take us back a little bit before you partnered. When you were like, did you have your own? Did you have a team before you partnered?
So I was on someone else's team, and my partner was as well, on 2 different teams run by 2 different people.
Okay. Awesome. And then back to Jen, when, as far as the inner workings of your business, do you find yourself doing a lot of the yourself, or are you that off to other people?
Hey Trent, yeah. So I'm a solo agent. When I first started out, I was on a team. I was over at Keller Williams, and I jumped on with a team there and worked the first year and kind of got a little bit burnt out. We worked a lot of Zillow leads, and that just wasn't my thing. I wasn't helping my military family per se, and I felt like I wasn't able to build relationships with the clients that I was getting through that. So when I went on my own as a solo agent, I kind of do everything on my own. For the last few years, I know that I need to hire somebody probably in the near future, but my goals are probably a lot different than, or maybe not a lot different. My goals are just different than some agents. I don't want to build a team. I do not want to, I mean, I would love to make millions and millions of dollars, but my goal is not to do that. My goal is to provide for my family, provide for my retirement, and just to have a successful business doing what I do. So I don't have to have hundreds of transactions to accomplish that. For me, my goal is, well, I should say my goal when I first started out was to do 1 a month, and then it became 2 a month, and then it was 3 a month. So basically for me, my goal right now with EXP and just real estate in general is to icon every year, because being able to icon has given me the opportunity to save for retirement, which I was, doing a little bit before I joined real estate, but not on the level that I'm able to do now. I'm giving my husband the opportunity to retire at 20 years instead of, going to 25 or 30. He's ready. He's had a great career. He loves what he does, but I think, his body is ready for him to take a little break. So I am able to do that by, really just kind of providing, again, 36 transactions a year will do it for me. Honestly, last year I did 45. This year, who knows how much I'll do, but my business is kind of just ran solo. I have started looking into, here in Northern Virginia, we have a transaction coordination that you can pay $350 for them to do all your transaction coordination. So I have been looking into doing that for the future, because I feel like that'll ease up. The paperwork's never the fun part. So I feel like I can give that to somebody else and I can just do all the fun stuff. I love buyers. Listings are great. I love listings. But I mean, that's where everybody says that's where the money's made, and that's where it's easy, and, and whatever, especially right now, with listings. But I love working with buyers. Most of my people, again, are young military or military that are getting ready to retire, and they're building their forever home for the first time. In 20 years, they get to pick everything that they want. So I just like being able to help buyers do that. I love looking at homes. I love going in there. I love it when they walk in and they're like, wow, this is the house, Jen. I love this house, and being able to get it for them. So really my mindset is, maybe a little bit different than some people's, but I want to keep it small. I want to keep it intimate. If I get to the point where I have, last year I had a lot of referrals, repeat business, which was great. If I have to hire on maybe a showing agent or a buyer's agent or something like that, I could do that, but that's not my goal in real estate, to be honest.
Okay. I think one of the most important things you said was about bringing on a transaction coordinator. When you're growing, usually that's going to be the first team member that you want to add to your organization. And the reason being because it's not a consistent cost that you have to absorb regardless of your production. So as you do transactions, as you see that paperwork increasing, which takes up a lot of time, where you need to be spending your time where you can make the most money, which is usually going to be, talking and following up with your leads and talking to your clients and servicing them, versus like filling out contracts and filling out paperwork and uploading stuff to Skyslope. You get your transaction coordinator to do that for you. It alleviates you of so much time, and and the cost is consolidated within the transaction. So you're only paying them if the sale goes through, so that is a great way to start scaling. So how about you, Kim? What is are you delegating a lot? Or are you still doing a lot yourself?
No, there's definitely a good amount of delegation going on around here. We have a full-time transaction coordinator, and then we also have our a full-time director of operations who basically handles everything on the operations side that isn't transaction coordination. So everything listing management wise, marketing, anything event related, kind of all of that is her world. So for me, the focus is really sales and leading the team. And that's the case for both me and my business partner. So, I mean, we both are still fully immersed in sales and, want it to continue to be that way.
Okay. Do you have a routine, or do you and your partner have routines that you go through every day? Is it a set schedule? Or is it kind of just like every day is different and you just have to face whatever challenges come up with your team or whatever transactions are going on? Or do you have like that set schedule?
So we're a combination of both. We have some set things, but we're not overly structured. I've kind of had all sorts of flavors of this throughout my real estate career. So the way we operate right now, we have a morning call at 9:15, Monday through Friday, totally non-negotiable in my schedule. So, prior to that, I get up in the morning, kind of do my thing, have my coffee, exercise, whatever, shower, all of that, like my routine personal stuff. But then 9:15 is our morning call. With our transaction coordinator, we run through and quickly touch on each file, just make sure. I mean, there's a ton of other collaboration and things we have in place, but just want to make sure we're completely on the same page. So it's pretty short and sweet, but super important. And then we have a couple other just reoccurring standing meetings throughout the week, as a team, and then also one-on-ones with team members. And that's, I'd say the like structured part and the reoccurring part. And then beyond that, it's, we're not time blocked down to the minute. But we do, at least have some things that are in place and super routine every day and every week.
Okay. And how about you, Jen? Working by yourself, are you seeing you have to block off a lot of time and then also give your time for a lot of freedom to move around?
So yeah, I definitely do the time blocking because, I always tell everybody when you are a real estate agent and you're working from home, which most of us do, some I know have offices that they go into, you have to be structured, you have to have something on your calendar. So I don't necessarily block off time for certain things, but I'll have, again, I put everything on my calendar, and I actually have a paper calendar. I still carry it around with me everywhere and I love it. And that's kind of how I have to do my business. Cause I like to see it in front of me and like to open it up and be like, all right, I can do, showings from this time to this time. I had a hard time the first, 3 years in real estate with, setting aside time for my family, setting time aside for myself. I was like, yes, 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 yes. You want to see a house now? Let's go. Like hop in the car. I still do that right now in the hot market. Sometimes you have to, hey, it comes on the market. You got to go see it right now. But I've also, realized that it's okay to say, hey, I'm not working on Sunday. Can we set up this, for either Saturday sometime or on Monday, this time? So I kind of set aside those times a little bit. I don't say no a lot because it's a hard thing to do, but I have, over the last year, I really, kind of taken a step back with the move and getting everything set up here to really set my schedule to say, okay, you know what, in the morning, you're going to get up. This is what you're going to do. I listen to Clubhouse now. I'll hop on there in the morning. So if you have an iPhone, you can do it. Hopefully they'll open it up to the other services too. But I hop on Clubhouse. I listen to some motivation stuff, and kind of just kind of dig in there. Podcasts. I like to read books. So I'll read a book. Right now I am reading, I just got it, so I haven't really started it yet. I got Atomic Habits and then the 10X Rule. So those are my next two books that I'm going to be reading. And I just, again, I just want to immerse myself in that. So in the morning, drink my coffee, read, listen to Clubhouse, and then I answer emails. I go through that whole process. If I need to respond to something right away, I respond to it. If it's something I need to do later on, I'll put it on my calendar or my to-do list. And then I just kind of go from there. I don't say, oh, from 10 to 12 I'm going to do showings, and from 2 to 4 I'm going to do this. I kind of just block it out as the day goes.
Okay. Yep. And from what you're saying, I'm seeing that you have the personal accountability, which I think is important for everyone, and then also finding time to have room to do the other things that you need to do to find that balance. And personal development as well, which is extremely important. I read 10X too, by the way, which is good. So yeah, that's really good. Now let's talk about something that a lot of new agents like to talk about, which is leads. I have my personal take on leads. I think, sometimes people can look at leads as the end all be all of building a business. But it's really, kind of can go deeper than that. It's about how you deal with your leads. Jen, can you touch on how are you getting leads? Where are they coming from? Are you paying for them? And what is the the ROI or turnaround on whatever you're putting into getting leads, and how that is converting into actual sales?
Yeah, absolutely. So my business is really based on word of mouth and referrals. When I first started, I was lucky enough to have a couple friends that were moving to the same area that we're living in. And then, they just refer you to other people and so on and so forth. So when I first started, most of my business came from friends, referrals. Most of my business now comes from Facebook. Being in a military community, I feel like it makes it maybe a little bit easier because you're on these Facebook groups. People are always moving. Every 3 to 4 years, usually someone's gonna either PCS into your location or PCS out of your location. So if you're around long enough, you're able to help them do both of those things. But really, if you create raving fans, and I feel like that's what I've been able to do in real estate. They will recommend you if you treat them well, you treat them like family, you treat it not like a transaction and you're done with them. If you really treat them and become friends with them, they are going to refer you to anybody and everybody. So whenever I left North Carolina, whenever I was there, someone's like, hey, I'm moving to the area. I need a realtor. Be like, Jen Carr. She's amazing. She took care of our family. Now that I've moved to Virginia, and had to start all over again, I don't have those raving fans here. I'm working on it. But again, you get a few clients here and there, and then you take good care of them. And then again, they refer you to their friends and family. So I actually have a closing today. They're actually probably finished up at the closing table right now. I missed it. I was there this morning with them. And, we had a couple little setbacks with a few things. And, I made sure I took care of it. And they're like, thank you so much. What can we do for you? And I'm like, you don't have to do anything for me. This is my job. I love what I do. I was like, if anything, refer me to your friends and family. If someone's looking to, buy or sell. And it's like, oh my gosh, we're already, telling people about you. I feel like that's how you can build a really good business, is by treating the clients that you have very well. Giving them good communication, keeping them in the loop of things, making sure that they're taken care of. If there's an issue that comes up, make sure that you have a solution to it. Don't, I always say, you're going to have problems. You're going to have things that come up. And if you don't make it a big deal to them and you take care of it, they'll remember that for life. Oh my gosh, we had this house is closing today. We did our walkthrough on Wednesday. And guess what? We went into the basement, and the basement had water in it. There was a leak from one of the pipes, and so we found out what it was. The seller took care of it. I went back this morning to make sure everything was great before they went to closing. And I brought a trash bag. I brought a mop, mopped up the floor. I bought them some new insulation to go into the ceiling because I was like, hey, you know what? It got wet. Let's replace that. Little things like that. They're going to remember me. They're like, oh my gosh, you remember when Jennifer came with her ladder and insulation to replace it whenever she didn't have to do it. I didn't have to do that. But if it happened to me, I would want someone to do that for me. So again, I get most of my clients' leads from Facebook. I don't pay for leads. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I don't pay for leads. I have been helping Veterans United as one of their referred agents in the area since I've moved here. So I've gotten a few clients through that, and you have to pay a 30% referral fee to Veterans United to get those leads. I don't plan on using it for very long. I don't like doing that, but it has helped me get a few clients here in the area, along with, getting them through Facebook and those avenues as well.
Okay. And what I'm noticing, you have this solopreneur model. You're doing everything yourself for the most part, and I've seen a pattern of most people like that, getting most of their leads from referrals and building their business through past business. So Kim, as far as, since you have more of a team model, I'm assuming you're probably paying for some leads, but could you go into that about any lead you're paying for, your cost, what that return on investment is, and if you're using any referrals as well, or if that's a big part of your model?
Yeah, so no paid leads for us. Again, all repeat referral. There were only 2 exceptions last year, and those were basically sign calls. So on existing listings, one that was a buyer and one that was actually another seller in the neighborhood. So, and because production-wise, for all of last year, it was really just my partner and I. We have brought on a couple of newer agents, but there still isn't a plan to go down any sort of paid lead route for them either. So it's very much social media for us, both business platforms on Instagram and Facebook, as well as our individual pages. So our director of operations, who does all of our marketing, she creates the content for the team accounts. But then we also, within the team, we'll each, either share things or do our own posts, and kind of, sometimes it's an exact duplication of the content on the team page. Sometimes it's our own spin. It's just, kind of a combination of that. But the thought is that, she's creating that content, which already makes my life and my partner's life easier. And then for the other team members, they can certainly, leverage that too, right? And there's a lot of talking about we and us and ours. It's not like, oh, Kim sold this or Kim's buyer or anything like that. I mean, everything is we, and that's a foundation that, even newer agents on our team can certainly use. That, oh, look at our new listing, right? It's not mine, it's the team's, it's theirs too. So social media is a big thing for us. And again, because it's so much just repeat and referral and sphere, social media is kind of just a way to continue to stay top of mind with those folks who we already know and have relationships with. And then the other piece for us is really event focused, which has been virtual basically for the past year. But, we pivoted right out of the gate at the start of COVID and did a couple virtual bingo events that, we mailed people bingo cards and things, and made sure there was an additional touch. It wasn't just a, RSVP to a Zoom and maybe they'll show up kind of thing. We had people a bit more involved and invested in having actually RSVP'd and then getting something in the mail. And we've done a couple other things. Most recently we did a pasta making kind of cooking demonstration with basically this guy who has a restaurant. It's closed on Mondays, so we were able to set something up where he taught people how to make pasta. So we gave people a list of ingredients ahead of time that they could purchase, and then be in their own homes and be making pasta and be on Zoom and ask questions and interact. We also had an element of it with a wine tasting with a red and a white wine. So for everyone who RSVP'd by a certain date, we dropped off wine to their house. And then during Zoom, while the pasta was cooking, we also had somebody who's an expert on wine and who sells wine, explaining and talking about the wine, answering questions about the wine. And I mean, again, our turnout, so to speak, on that event was incredibly high, far more than we'd see for in-person events. And I mean, honestly, I think a lot of that was we gave people 2 bottles of wine, so they thought maybe they should show up and participate. But it was really fun to see everybody in their own kitchens just making pasta, following along, being engaged and involved, and, then posting about it on social media. And then we're resharing that content. And it's just kind of feeding that cycle in like a really cool way, but we're, you know, doing things that are fun and enjoyable and that we like, and therefore, you know, we know and you know, can see that other people who are, you know, our friends and family and their friends and family are also then going to enjoy. So sorry, I just really went on a whole long tangent there, I think,
No,
but
that's
I'll
awesome.
come back out of the rabbit hole.
Very creative and very cool. Yeah. So and one thing I want to touch on as far as paid leads go, and I think is something that I had to understand, and a lot of new agents might find valuable in understanding how paid leads work. Paid leads, you got to understand what's happening on the other side of the paid lead. When you're paying for lead generation and you're getting leads either to come to your KV Core, if you use the Making It Rain campaign through EXP, or you use any other marketing services to get leads that you're paying for, you have to understand how those leads are being generated and what the level of motivation is of those leads that you're getting. So what's happening a lot of times when you're paying for a lead, on the other end of that is a Facebook campaign or Google campaign or something, and literally it's just somebody online and they click on an ad, and their name and email address and possibly their phone number, it gets transmitted to you. And literally that's the only level of motivation. Like somebody might be interested in buying or selling a home, they click on an ad and you get that information. So you have to dig deeper to understand what the level of motivation is. Typically, because that's such an easy conversion of somebody just clicking on something, the motivation might not be as high as you want it to be. You have to discover and find out by contacting the person or doing a lot of follow-up. And that's why the KV Course CRM is so valuable, because it does a lot of the automation for you. But you have to understand that that's a numbers game. When you start getting into paid ads, you have to be ready to have a budget to be consistent, to constantly have leads flow in. So then you can just, you know, work the numbers, and then out of those numbers, you can start seeing a percentage of conversion, which might end up being, you know, 1 to 5% or something like that, depending on how much you're spending every month. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're entertaining trying to do paid campaigns. It's not the end all be all of being able to generate leads and grow your business. It's something that really takes a lot of consistency and a budget and time. So if you're starting, I would not suggest doing paid leads personally. I would say work your warm market, work your friends and family, get referrals, start building that way. And I see that Marty has joined us. So let's
Yes,
shoot the
I'm
next
question.
question.
I was late. I'm here.
No, you're good. Let's talk. Well, give us a quick rundown. What your business model is, and when you joined EXP.
Okay, guys, I'm so sorry I had this wrong on my calendar today. Just one of those calendar faux pas. Anyway, I'm Marty Burnett. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. My business model has been 100 different things. I've been in real estate about 17 years. My husband and I work together as a team. We do have an office manager that works with us, and then a couple of other team members. We were with Remax for 5 years, Keller for 10. We were owners at Keller and sold our shares in that brokerage to come to EXP a little over a year ago. So best move ever we made in our careers so far. So super excited about that. I have worked as a solo agent. I've worked as a team, like as a partnership with my husband. I've worked with big teams, small teams. You know, real estate ebbs and flows, the markets do, and things change. So right now we are functioning as a team. And we, as I was just listening to you guys a little bit, we do not pay for leads. Our model is predominantly referral based. We do a lot of client events. Our clients love us. They refer everybody they know. But I will say we do focus a lot on social media as well, and reviews. If I could go back 17 years and have focused on these reviews from the get-go, I mean, I would totally do it. Reviews are huge. We have like a set, like email that we sent out, like a templated email we sent out that have links directly to our Facebook, Google, Zillow, anywhere they can leave a lead for us. I mean, a referral for us, and like a, you know, some feedback and testimonies and stuff like that. And that has been huge for us online. People will see them and they're like, oh my gosh, your clients love you. And so we have gotten some online leads, but we don't pay for anything.
Okay, so you saying you get a lot of reviews. Is that a metric you use to track your business and growth? And what would you say, between last year and this year, is there anything that you did differently in your business or in the tracking of your business to kind of see that growth?
We do track where the leads come from, like if they're referrals or if they're online leads. And if they're online, we try to figure out where they found us. Where we've seen a lot of, I guess, headway over the last couple years, because we've been focusing on reviews for about a year or two, really, really heavily. And I've seen a steady uptick in, especially on Google reviews. It's interesting because I'm not a super duper techie person, but I do push for these reviews because people will be like, oh yeah, we found you on Google. You had 20 5-star reviews. And I'm like thinking, wow, and like that, but you have to think, especially in an online world, even more so over the last year, when we're buying things online, they're looking at reviews. So I think this is going to become more and more relevant. So we are definitely focusing more and more on this. Even with, heard somebody talking about like client events and things like that. We'll do drawings for like Yeti cups, Yeti coolers. And, the entry will be like, how many reviews have you left for us on different sites? Like, have you done Google? Have you done Zillow? Have you done Facebook? Those sort of things. So have you liked us on Instagram, on TikTok, those sort of things. So yeah, we're really heavily focusing on that. And I am seeing it pay off in people coming, not just, so I kind of still consider it as a referral. But sometimes it's just from where they've gone online. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but we are definitely seeing more leads calling us, like kind of cold calling us off of our reviews that we've gotten.
Yeah. And I actually just started incorporating at every closing table. I try to make sure that, the buyer or seller is leaving me a Google review. So I make that a part of my closing process, and making sure, they get those reviews in. So I just started building my review presence online. So I think that's something important to incorporate early when you start having closings, to get your client to start to leave you a review right there at closing while they're excited and motivated to do whatever you tell them to do. Go ahead and get them to, post the review, 5-star review, some good words. Even if sometimes I'll even write out what I kind of want them to say in general, and then they can customize it. Make it their own words, but just so they can have an idea. Because a lot of times people are busy, especially if you do it after closing. So that's a good pointer for sure. Jen, let's jump to you real quick. You're operating everything by yourself. You said, you kind of have your own personal goals. What would you say is limiting your success right now? If you could snap your fingers and change something, what would be the thing that you would change that is limiting your success, that you feel like if you were to get over that hurdle, it would take you to where you want to be?
I would magically snap my fingers and there would be a lot more houses on the market to sell. No, no, but really, I think the biggest limiting factor that I have personally is kind of getting over the fact that, I had to start my business all over again. It's a thing that military spouses always have to do every 3-4 years. You have to start all over in a new area, doing something new. This is the first time that I moved with real estate, and I had a really successful, good business, again, all based on referrals in Eastern North Carolina. So it was really hard to leave that. So I think for me, and I've kind of got past a little bit of it, was the mindset. When I first got here, I kind of was like, well, I'll just take it easy for a little bit and relax, and and then I kind of got, I would say, a little bit lazy and more laid back. And there's a great military spouse here that's on the Facebook pages, and she's the Jen Carr of Eastern North Carolina here in Northern Virginia. So when somebody asks for a realtor recommendation, her name comes up all the time. So I kind of got a little demotivated, and it was like, oh, I'll just, once we move into our house, I'll get going. Once my office is ready, I'll get going. So I kind of had to, get out of my own head and kind of just get, remotivate myself. And my husband helped me a lot with that. again, reading books and, another book, I don't know if I could say this. It's called Badass Habits by Jen Sincero. It's awesome. It's basically, you're cultivating the awareness, your boundaries, what you need to do every day to stick to your goals, your habits, and things like that. So for me, it was really kind of, I think it was my mindset. I think in real estate, if you don't treat it like a business, you're going to just kind of sit back, relax, and just let whatever happens. You can't do that. You have to work the business. And if you don't work the business, you're not going to have the leads, whether it is, getting leads on Facebook and groups, whether it's getting referrals. A lot of my clients now are, I'm referring my past clients to other realtors in Eastern North Carolina, because they're still contacting me like, hey, Jen, we know that you're not here anymore, but who would you recommend to help us sell our house because we're getting ready to move? Or, hey, Jen, we're moving to California now. Do you know any realtors in California? So what I've been doing recently to kind of, again, I guess I had a hard time, not staying in touch per se. Most of my clients I add on Facebook, but I don't send out emails regularly. I don't send out anything on a regular basis to my past clients, reminding them like, hey, even though I'm not a realtor in maybe Eastern North Carolina or California or Florida, all the places that a lot of my military family live, I can still help you find a real estate agent in those areas. So I've had to kind of, I guess, get out of my own way and start doing things that maybe I thought were not going to be income producing activities, like sending out regular emails to my past clients. That's the best way to remind them like, hey, even though I'm not in, this area anymore, I can still help you, find somebody to help you sell your house, and, I'll get referrals. So that kind of helped me keep my business going when I moved. But really, I think it's just, you have to, you got to get out of your own way. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do. You have to get up every morning and treat this business like a business.
Sure. It sounds like the key takeaways are mindset and agility, and being able to find another route when you see something might not be working, or something you haven't really taking the time to explore that could actually be a good lead source. So Kim, let's talk about your with your business. What do you think is limiting your, and I also want to, at the last bit of this conversation, I want to talk about the future of the buyer's agent, because when you Jen, when you even mentioned, there's not enough inventory, more houses to sell, that's a reality. So that is something that we all in this room have to think about, all agents, we have to think about. I mean, the industry is truly changing, it's becoming, there's more investors coming into the market, especially where I am in Atlanta, in Georgia. There's more investors coming into the market, it's more competitive, inventory is low, home building is low. So Kim, what is it that you, in this environment and the climate we're in now, what is it that you see your business doing differently, or what is it that you feel like you could change if you could to take your business to the next level?
Yeah, this one's a little tricky because, blaming the pandemic kind of seems like a cop-out, right? But when we built our business plan for 2020 and it was so focused on face-to-face client events, certainly that threw us for a massive loop. So we pivoted, we met our goals, we made bigger ones for this year, and, have just found a way to do things like I talked about, virtual events and stuff differently than what we thought. And so, we try to look at it as like, wow, okay, like if we've been able to figure out how to do this level of production without being really able to be face to face with people at events like we'd love to be, like, how awesome is it going to be when we can actually do that again? So, business plan for this year, of course, is just a bit more like it might have to adapt later kind of thing. For now, like, we know we just can't really do in-person events like we'd like to. So, I mean, that's definitely the biggest thing for us. And I mean, again, outside of our control a little bit, which totally stinks, but there's a lot we can't control in this business, right? So just figuring out how to roll with it, and just excited for like how much more things will take off when we can have that face-to-face interaction.
Yes. Okay. And Marty, what issues do you think limit your success, and is that something that you've thought about what you would want to change if you could to go to the next level?
Well, honestly, I feel like we are in the middle of that change and taking it to the next level. And I'll tell you why. You know, my husband and I have always been, you know, very focused and very loyal to our game plan and what we're doing. And I think sometimes too loyal, if that makes sense. So, you know, like I said, we were with Remax for 5 years, and then we were with Keller for 10. The last 5 years at Keller Williams, we were not happy. Why were we not searching for another place to go? Was it comfort? Was it laziness? You know, I don't know, but I look back and think if we had started searching for something new right when we got unhappy, and I don't mean unhappy like someone made me mad or something middle school stupid. I mean, like, we were unhappy with where we were in our business, and we'd gone as far as we could go. We had gone as far as we could go with Keller because of the limitations they put on us. We were mega agents. We had our mega agency office. We were shareholders there. And so I feel like we kind of broke that mold when we found EXP. And so we are taking our business to the next level now. We're doing things now that we have wanted to do for years. I had always wanted to get licensed in Florida and Alabama and own a home down in Florida, where we visit so often and have such a great friend group, friend base. We visit there all the time. We did that this year, and we did it because EXP allowed us to do that, and it made sense for our business. So, you know, that's the biggest thing I think for us in our business is just, and again, I don't know why we didn't make the move earlier or whatnot, but I look back and I think, my goodness, if we had started looking 5 years ago, we would have found this and we would be that much further down the road. So I feel like that. And then another big thing that I think comes and goes probably with all agents, all teams, all groups, whatnot, is just the planning and the focusing is super important to plan out, have goals, know what you're working towards, but also not being scared to shift those if things change.
Hello?
Hey. So not being able to shift. Somebody got their mic on.
Crystal, your mic.
Okay.
Kim, will you turn your mic off?
I know, I miss you too.
Hey, Kim, Crystal, you want to guys turn your mic off?
Not me, Marty.
You come back. Come on back.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway,
I know.
I think that's probably, you know, the biggest thing is not being scared to shift and change. And I think this last year has put us all in a position of realizing that we have to shift and change.
Yes, for sure. Okay. Let's answer some questions in the audience. I see Jeff Rose. You have a question? And Crystal, could please mute your microphone if you're not speaking. All right, you there, Jeff? Do you have a question?
He said, wait a minute, I got that voice.
And how about Joanne? Joanne, do you have a question for the panel?
I know your mom and dad are happy to be home.
You guys can't mute your mic.
I know.
Can't mute.
Y'all not booter.
Okay. Okay. Jeff, do you have a question? See your hand up. And Joanne, do you have a question? Okay. If not, I want to go to our final topic with the last few minutes. We could just go down the line. I want to start with Kim. So in some areas of the country, I know where I am, you know, it's kind of like it's really tough being a buyer's agent. You know, shopping around with buyers is not there's no inventory. You know, a lot of people aren't able to qualify because of the hardship that they've experienced from the pandemic. A lot of investors are entering the market. A lot of out of state and, you know, out of country investor buyers are coming in with large cash offers, taking over the market. What are the things that the modern agent needs to do to survive, especially when you're small? I know you're scaled up, but for the new agent, the smaller agent, what advice would you give them when you see the market changing? You see that, it's harder to work with buyers. What would you tell that person if you want to give them advice on being successful in this industry now in today's age?
Sorry, Trent, was that for me? Jen?
Yes, that was for Kim.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, I wasn't ready. I thought Jen was going first. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess from a buyer's agent perspective, and we're, I'm both my partner and I work with both buyers and sellers. We're not, specific focus or anything, but, yeah, I mean, I think the industry is going to continue to change. There's going to be other factors other than just low inventory. So, I think at the moment, though, it's really about being, aggressive and competitive and creative. And, we're writing things into offers that a year ago we would have never imagined ever being the case. But, I think it's super, super important to constantly be in conversations like this with other agents, in workplace, in Facebook groups, all of that, to hear, what people are doing other places. And I mean, that goes for everything, right? Everything from how we conduct our business as buyer's agents or as listing agents or anyone. But, I think just conversations like this are just so important and helpful, because even if we're in different markets, there's a lot of things that, lots of overlap, or also maybe things that certain people are seeing that maybe haven't shown up as much yet for other people, but then it'll come, right? Some markets are just ahead of others. So, I think just constantly being in conversation with people all over the place, which, I too think is a huge value add of EXP, not just being this hyper local focus, but being able to have these collaborative wow conversations with people kind of all over the place. So we're going to continue to be pushed as agents, in our role and in what that looks like, and again with other external factors too, with just different services and those kinds of things that are making things more easy for the customer from a technology perspective. So we have to continue to show our value, to be creative, and just focus on the people side of things. I know there's a lot of talk of technology and what that's going to do. And, a couple of us here clearly are just very relationship focused and people focused. And certainly that's a huge factor, right? I'm all for technology and the efficiencies it can create in our businesses and elsewhere, but there's certainly, something about that, human connection piece that we just have to really tap into and focus on. So I guess if there's one piece to boil it down, that would be it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The key takeaways I got from what you just said was collaboration, continue to learn what other agents are doing, how they're surviving, and then also value, having more value when you're servicing your clients, being of most value to them. That was good.
Yeah.
Jen,
yeah. Thank you. You're far more articulate and concise than I am. Thanks, Trent.
No, that's good. That was good. And Jen, you're in a niche already. So it seems like some of the, especially because I'm sure you work mostly with VA, loans and these people that are getting 100% financing. Take yourself kind of outside of that a little bit. What advice would you give to an agent that's experiencing regular market conditions? Would you tell them maybe to find the same niche that you're in, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really kind of, finding what works for you in a crazy market. It's a little bit, I'm in Northern Virginia, so it's a little bit hard up here with VA buyers right now, because a lot of people want to look over the VA loan, which is kind of crazy in my eyes, to be honest. So really just with other agents that are dealing with low inventory, dealing with, not, even conventional loans, heck, man, I've had some offers, I've $20,000 above, $25,000 above, they're offering to pay 10 grand above appraisal price, no contingencies, type of thing. And we're still not winning those offers. So just keeping everybody, positive and motivated and, looking at the goal of home ownership. It's kind of difficult right now in some areas, I know, but you just got to keep at it, and you're going to find the right house at the right time. And it's going to meet all the criteria that your clients are going to need. So really, in a market like this, just keeping everybody positive and motivated is the most important thing, I think. And, again, just treating people right, building those relationships, not just with clients, but with other realtors as well. I've had great experiences. I like to have a win-win for everybody. I always keep in communication with my co-brokes. I always make sure that they know that, my main goal is to get us to closing, and to keep everybody happy. So communication's key there. Answering sure that you bring it up promptly with the other agent is key.
Okay. So the key takeaways I got from what you said were positivity, resilience, and communication.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Okay. And Marty, what's your suggestion to the new agent that is feeling the pressure of this market?
Yeah, the market across the country is wild. I mean, we're in Nashville, one of the top 10 cities in the country. I mean, it's crazy. I've been doing this a long time. I've never seen a market like this. I do think that good advice, keeping everybody calm, keeping focused, but I think it's even more important now, and we do this always, but I think it is more important now to really dig in to what your, if we're talking about buyers, to what your buyer is, wants and what their needs are, their top three, what their non-negotiables are. I think it's digging in even further to know what they want to buy and what they don't want to buy. Or what they're willing to buy, what they're willing to give up, so that you're not missing anything. Knowing all the strategies and partnering with your agents that have lots of experience, always staying educated and learning any kind of tricks of the trade. When you're writing offers, explaining to your clients, educating your clients on the different strategies, which ones are available to them, which ones are not. I think it's important to have good communication with your co-op agents, the seller's agents that you're working with. Have good communication with them. Make sure that your buyers are super stable with their loans, or if they're not, if they're doing cash, that they have their proof of funds letter. I think just being prepared and presenting a well-written, prepared offer and communication is huge. But here's another thing, guys. I mean, this market's moving fast. We're making offers against 10, 20. I had one the other day, we offered against 23 people. Okay, so that's nuts. So what I did is I sat down and I really, really hammered my clients about what they're looking for, what they want, what they're willing to give up, what they're not willing to give up. And we opened up a whole new option for them that they didn't realize they were open to just from having a conversation. We get in a hurry, and sometimes we forget to stop and just have conversations with our clients, like I've got to be somewhere in 10 minutes, rushed conversations. So what I did is, once I figured out exactly what they wanted and I knew they were willing to pull the trigger on something, I started calling agents that I knew that were local in our area, that I knew had listed something in that area or lived in that area or worked in the certain subdivisions we had nailed it down to. And I was able to turn up 3 off-market listings by just making those phone calls. And the conversation I had with them was, hey, I know you're feeling the pressure of these multiple offer situations. It's stressing everybody out. We've got buyers that are coming in from out of town. Not that there's anything wrong with out of town buyers. We get lots of them and I love them. But they're coming in and they're bidding up these houses. They're buying them sight unseen or locking them up sight unseen and getting in here and, bailing out during home inspections, and they're coming back on the market. I want to find a house that my clients know they're going to have to pay for it. We're not looking for a deal because there aren't any deals to be had right now. And we get that. We just want to have an opportunity. I've got a really strong buyer. They're ready to close. And I want to work with another agent that knows the area, that is local, that really wants to get this deal done and make it smooth for both the buyer and seller. And they were like, amen, this is great, blah, blah, blah. So I was able to turn up quite a few listings. Plus it gave me the opportunity to talk to and network with other colleagues that I don't get to talk to as much or communicate with as much. And so that was like a double bonus for me. So I'm having to do things now that I haven't done in years in real estate. I am not farming neighborhoods, but like if I know I've got a client that wants to be in a certain neighborhood, I'll send out 2 or 3 postcards in a row. Door knocking is a great way to figure out who's wanting to buy or sell. Getting on some of these, asking HOA. The HOA people always know what's going on. So just, guys, we're going to have to get creative. This market's been good for a really long time, and I think it's going to stay good. But we're at a point right now where inventory's low. It's going to take me, we've been in a year of this craziness, and it's going to take a year or so, I feel like, to really shake out of it and get back to just normal time. So we're just going to have to shift, and we're going to have to shift around and start doing things a little bit differently. And so that's what we're doing at our place. So I hope that helps you.
Yes. Yeah. So the key takeaways I got from what you're saying is being prepared, listening to your clients' needs, and being resourceful to be able to connect people where you can make the most out of every situation that you're presented with. That's good stuff. So we're at the end of our time, and I'll add something too. If you're working with investors, I would say adding more value to what you bring to the table when you're working with investors. If you're bringing them a wholesale deal or a deal that's like a flip, a home flip or something like that, not just presenting them the home, but also showing them, what it would take to possibly, like running a few numbers, showing them what the ARVs are, showing them what the rehab cost estimates might be, giving more value than just being what the regular run-of-the-mill agent might be providing for your clients. So adding value seems to be the overarching thing that everyone on the stage has mentioned. So that's really good information. We seem like we've come to the end of our time. I do see one question in the chat asking about interest rates on the rise and how we can help new customers that expect lower rates. Interest rates are still really low actually now relative to the past. So we're still in historically low interest rate environment. So it's still a great time for people to try to take advantage of these rates if they're able to. So let's see if there's any other questions. I don't see any other questions now. And I just want to thank everyone on the panel for giving their time. I know everybody's very busy, but taking time out to help the community and give back is awesome. So thank you to Marty, to Jen, thank you to Kim for coming and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you so much, Trent.
All right.
Thanks, guys. It was awesome. You all were great.
Great. All right. Thank you, guys. See you next time.